All right, so we'll start this off with a lightning round.
Okay.
Nirvana versus Green Day.
Nirvana.
1989 versus The Life of a Showgirl.
1989, obviously. Come on.
Britney versus Madonna.
Madonna.
Madonna versus Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks.
As an aesthetic or a genre, glam versus grunge.
Glam.
Gregory Alan Isaacoff versus Wilco.
Gregory. Every time.
Playing guitar, electric versus acoustic.
I have to go acoustic. Gotta go acoustic. It's how I grew up.
Yeah. Hippocampus versus Great Grandpa.
Hippocampus. I've been listening to them since I was like 15.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Rumors versus Tusk.
Ooh, Rumors. It's classic.
Sure. So for this one, it's very broad.
Okay.
I want you to like sit and stew on it while we're doing the rest of this interview.
Okay.
And then we'll get back to it and you can give me an answer. But mainstream pop versus indie rock.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So.
Oh man, you're gonna have to think about that.
Your new album, Temptress, is out April 24th.
Yes.
But first, give us an introduction to you, who you are as an artist, as a person, a little bit of a history.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want me to look at you or do you want me to look at me?
Yeah, you can just look at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, my name is Tiffany Johnson, and I am originally from South Dakota. Grew up in the Black Hills. I feel like I got a lot of folk and country influence, like just from where I lived and where I grew up, just being surrounded by hills and plains and stuff like that. And I started going to Nashville when I was like 15 years old, maybe even younger. I might have even been like 13. And I like begged my parents to take me to songwriter camps in Nashville. And that was like the peak of me loving like Dolly Parton and Casey Musgraves and Taylor Swift. And it was like Nashville was like the place where the magic happened in country music.
Right.
So I moved there, like I graduated high school early and I moved to Nashville. I've been there 4 years now, which is crazy to say. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. But yeah, and like high school, I started really getting into indie rock and like went through a grunge phase and like just was obsessed with like crunchy guitars and like cool different tones and like got into some like shoegaze stuff too.
Sure.
And so many of my friends had like much cooler music taste than me, so I really do have to like give it to them. But when I moved to Nashville, oddly enough, I started making a lot more pop music and a lot more indie rock influences, and put out an EP that was pretty pop still, but had a little bit more of that like indie rock influence, and started working and writing for other people pretty much full time when I first moved to Nashville, like living off of money that I made gigging in high school.
Yeah.
And just wrote country songs for other people and then wrote pop and rock songs for myself. And yeah, Temptress kind of came about when I just like really wanted to make a debut album, but also wanted to feature all of my different music tastes in one album. Like it pulls from a lot of different genres, but I feel like that's kind of who I am as a person. So yeah.
That's one of the really impressive things about this record to me is your ability to not so much like blend genres, but to just like hop from one genre to the next.
Yes.
Like, is that a conscious thing or is that just kind of who you are? And like,
yeah. I mean, for Temptress, it was definitely a conscious decision. But for a lot of my life, I've been told like, oh, you need to stick in this lane. You need to stick with country. You need to stick with pop, like whatever. And I think I took a lot of influence from seeing Taylor Swift like jump around genres, and even like recently seeing Sabrina Carpenter incorporate a lot of those different genres in her music. And it was just like so inspiring for me to understand that like, oh, it is okay to like have facets to yourself. Yeah. And I just have never wanted to be a multifaceted artist or like a non-multifaceted artist. Like I don't want to be a one-trick pony. It's not my thing. Like what I love is like diversity in music.
Sure.
And I think what binds everything together is like my songwriting and my lyricism, and like that's what stays true to me. But I just think the fun and creativity is like pulling from different influences. So I consciously tried to do that in Temptress.
So does that like translate at all in album sequencing, like song sequencing for an album? Like, do you have to kind of keep that in mind? Because I noticed there's like a definite ebb and flow, and it's sometimes more abrupt,
Yeah.
than you would expect.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah. That's funny. We had a listening party for the album last night, and there's a part where it jumps from Sucker Punch to the station, and it's like the most like, it's like, hey, guess what, we're feeling this, just kidding, we're sad now, like now we're happy and we're poppy. And I do think like when I put the track list together in the order that I did it, I did have to consciously kind of be like, this goes together, this goes together. But there were also parts, especially on the B-side, where I'm like, this was the order that I was feeling the emotions. So this is the order I want to put the tracks in. Because it's kind of chronologically like the story more than it is like the sound palette. But I also didn't want it to completely feel like you're on a roller coaster all the time. So I tried to blend some of it. But I do think it's intentional that it jumps around.
That's cool.
I don't know. I feel like I jump around, so my music's going to too, I guess.
Yeah. The first song really, to me, like, feels like such like an epic like album ender.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know if you thought about that at all, but like it works as an opener as well.
Yeah.
But the first time I heard it, I was like, man, this sounds like such a just an epic like album closer.
Well, cool.
But it's got like a little bit of everything in it, so it also kind of sets the tone for the record.
That's funny that you say that, because that's the last song we made for the record.
Oh, really?
So I guess it could be like the last track.
Interesting.
But yeah, I just love the intro of that song, so that's why I wanted it to be the first track. And I guess in the story in my head, it starts with The Girl Next Door, which is like kind of a song about like being interested in someone and not knowing if they're interested in you, and kind of like being okay with like changing yourself to fit in the mold that they want you to be. And I think that's kind of what the whole album talks about, which is why I ended up putting it first. But it could also have been a great last track. And maybe when we perform live, I'll do it last.
Yeah.
Thank you for that idea.
Yeah, of course. So Nashville obviously has such a legacy with music. I'd be interested to know how you feel like the city has shaped you as a songwriter. But maybe the better question, so I also love to hear your answer to this, but how South Dakota affected you as a songwriter.
Yeah.
So maybe you can kind of speak to both. Like, similarities, differences.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll start with my hometown. I think like I grew up, my dad was in a band and they played yacht rock and like old country, 90s country, and even back to the 60s, like country music. So I didn't realize, I don't think, like how much of an impact that had on my songwriting, but more so like the scenery in South Dakota impacted my writing so much. Like I love to write about nature and I love including nature things in my writing, especially like the song The Station on my album is like all about the places in South Dakota. I mentioned this place called Elk Creek, which is like this beautiful hiking trail.
Yeah.
And just like so much of almost like the nothingness of my hometown is what inspired me to be so creative, because it is like there's not a lot going on. So like I had no choice but to like get very interested in random niche music things.
Right.
So I think that was really cool. I would definitely say I wasn't exposed to nearly as many like songwriters. I didn't even know songwriting was a job for like half of my life.
Yeah.
I thought you had to be an artist also to write songs, and that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, and then when I moved to Nashville, I think Nashville has like a very underrated indie rock scene.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised by that. And I think like now I'm more inspired by my peers than like anything else. So many of my friends are like genius writers and incredible guitar players and just like experiment with different sounds. And like a lot of the producers I work with are like the reason I have the sound that I have. Yeah, my producer, Griffin White, he's from South Dakota actually. And we moved to Nashville at the same time, but he has such different music tastes than mine, but like it complements mine so well.
Yeah.
He grew up on like doing a lot of hyperpop and doing a lot of honestly like SoundCloud rappers. And now he does mostly pop, but like that really influenced my sound. My other producer I work with, his name is Joseph Kuhn, and he's like very into like grunge rock and McGee and Dijon and that kind of thing. And like that has also influenced, like his creativity has influenced me as well. And he helped shape it. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, Nashville's very awesome.
Yeah. So you had the song I Miss New York City. When was that recorded?
I know that it was, let me think, it was the first snowstorm that we had in Nashville was when we wrote it. So that was probably 2023 or 2024. And I want to say he put it out either 2024 or 2025.
Okay.
But yeah, it was such a special session. I saw him in concert and I thought he was Ben Goldsmith. He goes by Benny G now. I just thought he was so incredibly talented, and I loved his influences and the things he pulled from. And we had like ended up DMing each other on Instagram just like about music stuff. I think we were just like kind of like, we had a lot of mutual friends and whatever. And he was supposed to go on like a multi-month tour. And I was like, is there any chance like you have any days like open to write? And we wrote like the night before he left for tour.
Oh, that's
And
super cool.
it was really cool. I feel very lucky. But yeah, and then he was like, oh, I really like the song. And I was like, yeah, like me too. But I didn't think much of it. Like I didn't think that he would cut a song that we wrote like our first time writing. And then he just kept telling me he liked the song. And I was like, that's great. Like, yay. And then he told me he was going to put it on his record. And I kind of freaked out. But it was my first like major label cut, which was really cool. And he's just really talented.
So was that like the first song that you've worked on for someone else, or?
Yeah, great question. I mean, not really. Like I've been co-writing since I was pretty young, and like usually in sessions we write for me, but I love writing for other people. I especially love writing like male country. I feel like a lot of people don't know that about me, but like I just think it's so fun to get to try on different hats and put myself in their boots, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a good like exercise just to kind of, you know, further your own skill. Which kind of brings me to like your sense of lyricism is like you have a very keen sense of lyricism.
Thank you.
And what strikes me about it is it seems like certain lines just seem so thought out, but they come across like so nonchalant. Like you just like roll right past it. And where I feel like other artists would like try to make something like that a hook, you know? But like where does your sense of lyricism come from? Like,
well, thank you. First of all, that's very kind. I mean, Taylor Swift. Like I grew up on Taylor Swift. I can't not give her credit for that. I grew up on Taylor Swift and honestly like Disney Channel and like just being obsessed with people that wrote songs. I just thought that was the coolest thing. I also take a lot of inspiration lyric wise from Gregory Alan Isakov.
Okay.
He grew up in Colorado, which I feel like I kind of like relate to that because he is from somewhere similar to me. But I think especially when I'm writing like slower, folkier songs, like I definitely am inspired by his lyricism. And I read a lot. I read a lot of poetry. I listen to things that people say and write them down. Right. So yeah, I don't know. Feels like it comes from somewhere else most of the time when I'm writing now. It feels like there's just like a alternate force and it's just going through my hand. And,
sure. Yeah. I mean, I think like any songwriter will tell you like the best things they do just seem to like fall in their lap almost.
Yeah, that is how it feels. I'm not really sure where it comes from. And sometimes I finish writing a song and I'm like, I did not write that. Like someone else wrote that through me. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
So how does Temptress differ from your last release, Blue Heaven?
I would say it's a lot more intuitive. It's a lot more personal. It's a lot more grunge and rock focused. A lot less happy. But yeah, I think it just is a lot more like reflective of who I am as a person. And I really tried to make it feel like my diary. And I tried to lay it all out. And I wanted it to feel like, as a debut album, I wanted it to feel like a representation of me and all the different things that I am and can be. So I kind of think that's how it's different from Blue Heaven. Blue Heaven was pretty like fun and upbeat and poppy. And I don't know, I feel like I found my sound a lot more with this project. So.
Cool. So let's get back to mainstream pop versus indie rock. Let's talk about what you love about mainstream pop music.
I think with mainstream pop, I just always go back to it. But I have like a very particular pop taste. And for like a while, when I was like in high school, which was probably like, I don't know, like 2018 to 2022, like that era of pop, like, I don't know, but it wasn't doing it for me. Like, it wasn't until like Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, and like the current pop girls that I felt like I really was like, oh yeah, like pop is my thing. Like, sure. I love pop. But there was an era there, like, because I think a lot of pop is like really watered down lyrics sometimes. And I think people look at it as like a genre with watered down lyrics and simple melodies and just like catchy little hooks. But I think like the new era of pop girls kind of like broke that barrier, which is what I love.
Yeah.
And I love that like people can relate to pop. I love that it's easy to listen to. It's oftentimes fun. I think a lot of like my audience too, especially is like teenage girls or like girls similar to my age, like going through things that I've gone through. And I think pop really lends itself to that. And I love that about it. But yeah, and then there's indie rock, which like is just so creative and fun. And it feels like when you're listening to it, you can hear their creativity through it. You can hear the experimentation. You can hear sometimes like the anger, the angst, or like the fun happiness. Like I loved the surf rock era that happened in like 2020.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just like a great expression of feeling, I think. And I love watching people perform rock on stage. And I don't know, I tend to draw more inspo from more like alternative things. So I don't know.
All right. So Desert Island, you've got your two choices. Like, which are you picking?
I would say, like, if you looked at my Spotify Wrapped this year, you'd definitely be like, yeah, she's picking pop. But if you looked at my Spotify Wrapped like 5 years ago, it'd be like, it's all indie rock. I really don't know. Sure. I think right now I have to say mainstream pop.
Okay.
Honestly. Right. Because the pop girls are killing it, and I have to give them that credit.
Yeah, I agree. So, like, there's definitely like a new wave.
Yeah, pop's big right now.
Yeah.
I love me indie rock, but I think pop for how I'm feeling today.
Sure.
Maybe tomorrow I'll have a different answer. I don't know.
I'll take it. So with Temptress coming out, what are the plans? Big tours or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going on a tour this summer, going back to my hometown, playing some different places in South Dakota, which will be really fun. I try to do that every year. We're having a release party, actually literally at my house in my backyard. Nice. But I've always wanted to do a backyard show at my house and just like invite my friends and collaborators to play music and hang out. Other than that, I've got a couple more music videos down the line, a couple live versions of songs, possibly a deluxe Temptress at some point.
Nice.
But yeah, kind of figuring it out as it goes. Also, being an indie artist, it's like I can do what I want sometimes. Exactly. So I'll just think of something and be like, I want to do that. But yeah, I'm just excited for people to hear the music and to get the album out. And I feel like that's kind of my main focus. And yeah, I'm hoping to open for someone on tour. That's like my biggest goal, but we'll see.
Cool. Yeah. Well, it's a really great album.
Thank you.
I think you're going to gain a lot of fans with this.
I hope so. Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming and doing this.
Thank you for having me.
For anybody watching, do you want to go ahead and give out the address for the house party?
Oh, yeah, no. DM me. Give me a little ring. Maybe you can come. But
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.